Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 13th of July 2021 and the time now is 6:16 a.m. Well, today our topic is what is the real difference between happiness and pleasure? So before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Yeah, so today we talk about happiness and pleasure. Yeah, and then what is the difference between them? And yeah, for me, I think yeah, this is an old topic, and then now we can combine the things that uh, we have gone through, if possible. Firstly, for happiness, we know that that is basically long term compared to pleasure. Pleasure, they are in shorter term. Yep, and then um, for happiness, it is uh, something like affected by serotonin, and then for pleasure, it is driven by dopamine. Yeah, this is something that we have gone through before, and then yeah, I think I talk about happiness first. And yeah, before this conversation, I went to watch the video again, which is one of the video you share in the conversation list, which is the four pillars to meaningful life. Yeah, and then yeah, in that video, it says that people pursuing happiness, but then they found that they're still unhappy. Yeah, so the speaker comes out with four pillars. Yeah, and then yeah, I think four pillars, the things in the four pillars, the four factor, I think is quite um uh yeah, this is the happiness. I think this is something uh um, people that feel happy and then they get the real happiness. Basically, it is supported by these four things in their life. And then yeah, these four things is belonging, the first. Second is purpose. Number three is the transcendent. And then the last one is storytelling. And then yeah, this is the four pillars to happiness, and then we can find that actually if these four things um, it is more about status instead of um, instead of something like an action. Yeah, for to me, I found an coincidence for pleasure and happiness. For pleasure, it's something, to me, I think pleasure mostly comes from a particular action or a particular result. Yeah, I'm not sure whether this is true. Maybe later you can give some comments to this. For example, if I do a particular activity, let's say I watch a movie and then yeah, the movie is interesting and I'm happy. And at that moment, um, I feel happy, and then my dopamine level increase. Yeah, even though we read the Atomic Habit book, and then found that some of the dopamine actually increase even before we do it. Kind of we anticipate. particular things to do, whatever. But that is because of an activity, because of one things we do, and then we get pleasure from that movie. So this is from an activity, but for the happiness side, it's more like a status. For example, the first pillar is belonging. Yeah, for this one, belonging, let's say, belong to your family connection or your friends circle. Yeah, this is not an activity. This is a status. Even that you didn't do it, even that you feel like you have uh, a group of friends, and then uh, you feel happy about that, and then even though you are not with them, you still can get you still can feel happy in your mind, even though it is not every second. And then the other example is belongings to family. Yeah, let's say um, if you feel happy because of the harmony in a family relationship. Yeah, this kind of things to me is also a status. It is not a particular activity or action. Yeah, so I think this is one of the uh, difference I found between happiness and pleasure. One is a status, and the other one is an action, is an activity. Yeah, and then um, and also this is why uh, happiness is long term, basically compared to pleasure. Because pleasure is just short term. They are, to me, I think they are more about an particular, uh, a particular things or activity. And then, yeah, after that, I also try to search uh, for what is the difference between happiness and pleasure last night. And then I came across an article, and then it seems like that is a concept by Martin Seligman. I don't know whether this is a guy you heard before, because that is also the positive psychology, right?
This before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So this guy give a concept to happiness, and this is called the PERMA model. And each of the words in this PERMA stands for one one things. The first is the P is stand is it means the positive emotion, and then E is the engagement, and then R is relationship, and then M means for meaning, and the last one A stands for accomplishment. So for these five things in PERMA model, uh, um, yeah, I didn't fully understand them because that is just an article. I also didn't click into the video. I don't have the time enough to watch the video, and then so I just look at the words, the summary, and then yeah, by just looking at the terms they use here, like positive emotion, engagement, relationship, I feel like some of them is similar to the four pillars. For example, um, the engagement. Yeah, the engagement here can be related to belongings in four pillars, and relationship also, and then the meaning can be referred to the purpose in four pillar, and uh, accomplishment can be um, accomplishment maybe can be the storytelling, and then yeah, storytelling, and the positive emotion can be transcendent. Yeah, they are not the same, but they are kind of can be related. Yeah, and then also I think for this concept by Martin, which is the PERMA model, uh, all of the items here I also think they are more about a status instead of an activity instead of an action. Yeah. So yeah, this is basically what I think difference between happiness and pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I read the book, and this is the book name is Become Happier. And in this book, it talks about, yeah, uh, and the author of this book uh is actually the lecturer of the lecturer of the Harvard University's open course that I watched before. And in the
Yeah.
book, this this author actually mentions four types of life, and he used a story to describe it.
Mm.
And the story he used is about the burger. And for example, we go to a fast food restaurant, we eat
Yeah.
burger.
Yeah.
We have few type of burger we can choose. The
Mm.
first is this is this is uh delicious, but it's
Yeah.
unhealthy.
Okay.
There's no nutrition, or no enough nutrition.
Mm.
So delicious and unhealthy. This is the first one. And the
Okay.
second one is not delicious but healthy. A lot of veggie. For
Okay.
example, like the burger for vegetarians, and yeah,
Mm.
uh no meat, or maybe or only another type of veggie is it for you uh to cut loss. For example, something like the sandwich, for others, yeah,
Mm.
because this different burger.
Yeah.
So this one is not delicious but healthy.
Okay.
And the third one is not delicious and not healthy.
Okay.
Not delicious and, yeah, unhealthy. Yeah, so this is a burger you don't like,
Mm.
and this also the burger couldn't give you the nutrition that your body needs, so it's unhealthy.
Mm.
And the fourth one is this is a delicious burger, and also it is a healthy burger.
Mm.
You like to eat the burger, and also the burger give you enough nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the first one, delicious and unhealthy, this is something like you pursue the pleasure and ignore the happiness.
Oh.
Like just now what you say, pleasure is something short term and happiness is something long term.
Mm.
Yeah. So you eat something delicious, you feel good, but it's unhealthy. So it may harm your health in long term. Yeah.
Mm.
So this is something like you pursue the pleasure short term, but you ignore the happiness in long term. And how about the second one? Not nutritious, uh, not delicious, but
Yeah.
healthy burger. It's something like a lot of people who work for fire, who work for um, they kind of like in the red race, and they want to earn a lot of money,
Mm.
and then so that they can retire earlier, or they
Yeah.
want to earn a lot of money to support their family, to give their family better life, or any or something relate or something similar like this.
Yeah.
They work very very hard, maybe 996, maybe 007, and this is not delicious because you don't like it.
Mm.
Mm. You don't like the burger, you don't like this kind of life, but it is healthy long term. Yeah, and because by doing this, and then you can get something returns in future. And what's the third one? The third one is not nutrition. Sorry, not delicious and also no nutrition.
Yeah.
So maybe you do for something you don't like, and also in long term, it didn't give this thing won't give you any returns. You are on the wrong directions. And how about the fourth ones? And then the fourth one is delicious and healthy. You opt for
Yeah.
something you like, and then long term it will also give you happiness. And then this author also give a story, a scenario of how this burger theory can apply into our life.
Okay.
For example, you can imagine there's one people, they study hard, they work hard in universities, at work, at his early age. So he get a good result, he get a good job, and he continue to work.
Yeah.
But he don't like it, and he need to compete with other people always, and then he don't feel the pleasure from his work, from his study. So he's eating the burger, which is not delicious, but healthy burger from nutrition. And then he worked for a long time, and then only maybe at some point in future, on the middle age, or maybe when he's 40 years old, and then he's able to retire, earn a lot of money. And then after he retired, so he started to enjoy their he started to enjoy his life. So he can he don't need to work, something like that.
Yeah.
And then he shift from the second type of burger to the first type of burger, which is the delicious burger but unhealthy one. So he just spend his money, and then he just enjoy his life, do whatever thing he want to do, yeah, and then stop working, and maybe just lie down your bed every day, yeah, go travel or do something, okay, and spend your money, buy some luxury goods or something, big house, a sport car, like that. And then when the life goes further, and you realize, yeah, initially you feel very, very quote unquote happy because you got a lot of pleasure. You spend your money to buy things, and then they give you the pleasure. But but after some time you realize you cannot spend more money to get the same pleasure. Maybe initially you spend the same quantity of money, and then you get an X amount of pleasure. After some time you need to spend more money in order to get the same quantity of pleasure, which is X. And then after some time you realize that you couldn't do this anymore, because the money you need to spend is keep increasing, but the pleasure you get is keep decreasing, or maybe like stay constant. And then you feel bad. You feel bad, and you start to think, yeah, why I spend so much time and on working this, and because this is something that I want, and this is something I work for. I work for 30 years. I study hard for 30 years, and then now I'm at 40, and then I start to enjoy my life. But after some time, I found that this is not something that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you shift from the first burger to the third burger, which is not delicious and no nutrition. you don't know how to do, and then maybe you keep spending the money, or maybe you stop spending the money, but you are experience the life you don't want to experience, and then it's not delicious burger, and then also no nutrition. This is not like the it's not like the second one.
Yeah.
It's not like the second burger, which is you work hard for your future. And this stage is not delicious and also no nutrition. You're doing something meaningful, but and then this is something like in the depression, because you work for so many years, and then you thought this is something that you want, but eventually this is not. And then at the end, there's no ending. I mean, maybe the person just stuck in this third stage. He couldn't go to the fourth stage, which is get the delicious burger, but also a healthy burger. Yeah, so this is something like the story to describe the different stage. And of course, you don't have to experience all of this in order to get the fourth burger. You of course you can directly experience the fourth burger to eat the fourth burger. Yeah, this is just something the story. Yeah, and then we discussed something before, which is the base happiness level. It's actually we human have a base happiness level. If you experience good thing, your happiness level will spike, and then after sometimes you'll come back down to the base level. If you experience the bad things, it will go down. You will have a breakdown, and then after some time, it will come back to your base happiness level.
Yeah.
And for this happiness level, how can you increase this base happiness level? Yeah, you actually need to put yourself on the line. You need to like find some challenge in your life, and then to keep doing that. So it's something like doing something meaningful in your life, so that your life got nutrition to feed yourself. Yeah. And if you keep doing this, and maybe you still experience the fluctuation between your base happiness level and the fluctuation even greater. So you have a greater happiness. Sometimes you feel more depressed. Yeah. And but you can see sometimes it's go up a lot more than the past, and sometimes it's go down below more than the past. And but in long term, if you draw a line at the central, and then you can find that your happiness level actually did increase. Yeah. So yeah, this is how the base happiness level works. And why put yourself on the line? Why you keep challenging, keep doing something meaningful, and it eventually will increase your base happiness level, because the reason behind is actually you become more resilient. What is more resilient? For example, when you face an obstacle, and then you won't feel that depressed. Of course, you will feel bad, but you eventually will overcome. You will find a way to overcome. And as more challenges you take, the higher the ability you are able to overcome the next obstacle. Does it make sense? Yeah. So if you are more resilient, and then you are more likely to overcome the obstacle, and then you are more you are able to recover from the depressions more promptly, so faster than other people. So that when your base happiness level go down, and it will come back earlier, it will come back faster, quicker. Yeah. And so this is something like you can recover from the losses very quickly. Yeah, and the more challenge you take, and then the better you are doing, the better you can do. So of course you can experience something good more often. Now, so this is a reason why, yeah, put yourself on the line, keep challenging yourself, and then you become more resilient. And the people who more resilient have a higher happiness level.
Yeah.
And okay, one another study is actually the researchers study some extraordinary successful people. So it's not like it's not like the ordinary people, and it's also not the successful people, but it's extraordinary successful people. So extremely successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the case is very, very rare. So maybe there are just few hundred cases in the world, or maybe just few thousands. Yeah, but the researchers, they study of them, and they found that actually they have one common. There are two commons. Yeah, the first one is actually they keep asking questions. And then the second is actually they believe in themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
So asking questions, yeah, and this is also quite important, because when you ask the right questions, and then it gives you the directions. It gives you the direction. Let me rephrase. So the question you ask is actually the quest you're looking for. It's a quest you're taking. So it's something like, for example, if you ask question A, and you go for direction A, if you ask another question, you ask question B, and then you will go for direction B. So the questions will lead you to a different directions. For example, if you are in a relationship, what question you may ask? You may ask, okay, yeah, what's wrong in our relationship? What's wrong in our relationship?
Yeah.
So you focus on something, the weakness, something, the threat in your relationship, you try to fix it. Yeah, this is one direction, and this is the question you ask. And another question you can ask, yeah, how good in our relationship? So you focus on something good. You kind of like try to find the good in this relationship, and you try to find how can we increase, how can we maximize, how can we further increase, or maybe replicate this quote unquote success in future. And then the first direction is you kind of find the weakness, you kind of find the failure in your relationship, and then you try to fix it. Yeah. So this is the example. This is an example how the question will lead you to different quests. And the second is the belief in yourself. Yeah. And okay, for the first one, the question, and it's actually something like a skill, which is like the interpretation. And you can ask, you can train yourself to ask the right question. And it also related to something like the positive emotions. You kind of ask the positive questions.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so it gives you a different picture. That of course you don't need to always ask these kind of questions. You can still also ask the failure question. Yeah. But sometimes we too focus on the failure question. We didn't focus on our success. Yeah. And this is the point.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second one is actually believe in yourself. And this belief is also something can be trained. We also can learn to believe in ourselves. And there are few methods. Yeah. One of it is also similar to something that I mentioned before, which is to put yourself on the line. And you keep doing that, and you keep overcome it, and then after some time you believe in yourself. Because okay, because there is one theory here. Actually, there are 2 or 3 theory here. The first is a self-perspection theory. What self-perspection theory means here is actually like you do something. For example, you give a speech, and then other people are watching you. So they'll think, wow, you are brave. Yeah. You are brave. And then you you have your confidence, okay, and also you are maybe calm, and you are like maybe yeah, okay, just use an example. Let's say you're confident, okay, and then we think you're confident because you are able to stand on the stage and give a speech. And they are listener and you are the speaker. Okay. So self-perspection theory is something like how other people think on you, and you will also think like this. So if other people think you are confident, and then you also will think you're confident because you get the feedback from other people. This is something like you have a mirror. You have a mirror, and then you see other people think you're confident, and then you also will start to feel, and you also start to think that you are confident. And if other people think you are bad, and you also will start to think you are bad. If other people think you are intelligent, you also will think you are intelligent. So this is the self-perspection theory. Yeah, and then another is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think you are bad and you do something, and then you behave, you are bad. So you become really bad that you think. And if you think you are confident, if you think you are smart, and you do something that let you become smarter. Yeah. And let's say you think you're confident, so you are able to stand on the stage and give a speech, and then more likely you'll go on the stage and give a speech in future. So more you do and more experience, put yourself on the line, and then it actually will let you become more resilient and let you become more confident. So it is something like feedback loop.
Yeah.
Maybe first you do something and then you get confidence, and then when you get confidence, you put in more efforts. You work more harder, and then when you work more harder, and then next time you go to do something, and then you see a better result, and then when you see a better result, you become more confident. So this is like the spiral. This is like the positive spiral. It's upward spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is about the self-fulfilling property. And then after the third one is actually is called ABC. The A here is means the attitude, and the second is B stand for behavior, and the third one C. C, I suddenly forget what it is. Okay. But we look at the A and B. Okay.
Yeah.
A is the attitude, and actually our brain, our brain, human brain don't like the inconsistency, and then they like to do the alignment. For example, if you behave like this, but your attitude is another type of person. Let's say you are reading, your attitude actually you don't want to you don't like to read. So attitude is something like the internal, and behavior is something like external.
Yeah.
Keep reading the book, and then but inside yourself, you think that I actually don't like to read, and then I just force myself to do something. Let's say like you use a self-controlling ability to force yourself to form the habit of reading book. And maybe after some time, because our brain don't like the inconsistency, so maybe it will bring the attitude to the behavior, or maybe it will bring down the behavior back to the attitude. So what does it mean? It means that maybe you will quit the reading book.
Yeah.
It bring your behavior aligned to the attitude, or maybe it will bring your attitude aligned to the behavior. So you start to like to read book. Yeah. So our attitude can impact our behavior, and our behavior and also can return and impact our attitude. And this is something that we discussed the body language in the past, which like if you act if you do a strong posture body language, and it will boost some chemical in your brains, and one of these is like called the testosterone, something like that, and the second is reduce one of your stress chemical, so you become more confident, and then you become less stressful just by doing a 2 minutes strong posture. And then on the other side, if you do a weak posture, and it actually will reduce your confidence level, and it will increase your stress level. Yeah, so this is similar. So your attitude and your behavior can impact your thinking, and your thinking can also impact your behavior. Yeah. So this is how these extraordinary people, the commons in these extraordinary people, first is ask the right question. They like to ask questions. They like to ask questions, and and they are more curious, and then they also they also ask a right question. They not only ask many questions, they also ask a lot of right questions. And the second is they believe in themselves, and this belief can be trained. Yeah. So okay, go back to the pleasure and happiness. Okay. And you see, happiness, something like there is a base level, and you need to cultivate the happiness, and to increase your base happiness level. So of course, this is a long-term one. Yeah. And the pleasure is something like the short term. You also can say every spike of the happiness is actually the pleasure.
Yeah.
And eventually it will go down back to the happiness, back to the base happiness level. So you can also say like, okay, I kind of like abundance the pleasure concept. I just use the happiness. So you can say, yeah, there's a short-term happiness level, there's a long-term happiness level, and it actually present the same thing. So the spike is a short-term happiness. So it's same as a pleasure. For example, you get a new job that you really want to get, okay,
Yeah.
and your happiness level spike, but eventually will go down back to your base happiness level. You'll feel happy, yeah, but it's a single event. Single event won't increase your base happiness level, yeah. But all the event combined together, each of them actually contribute little to your to the increases of your base happiness level. Yeah. So and if you look at about the spike of the happiness level, and it could be anything. Yeah, and it could be like you eat a delicious food, you get a new job, and you get a praise, and maybe you get some rewards, and maybe you do something good, you help other people, and all these things will give you the positive feeling, positive emotion, will increase your happiness level in short term. So your happiness level will go up, and then after some time it will go back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how I find the relationship between this pleasure and happiness. Yeah. Actually, you can say they are the same, but but to cultivate them is actually different, and we need to focus on the base happiness level. We should focus on the long term, and at the same time, we shouldn't ignore the short term. Why? Because each of the short term, each of the spike of the happiness spike contribute to your base happiness level. So without many spike, without many pleasure, and it won't contribute to your base happiness level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, if you want to cultivate the long-term happiness level, you need to do the thing that I mentioned just now.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's all for my sharing.
Yeah, and then yeah, for just now you say also do not ignore the pleasure. Yeah, this reminds me of the Atomic Habit, which says that yeah, we can enjoy the process before really achieve something. We enjoy when we feel like we improve a little bit even.
Yeah, and one of the success formula that I get from this lecture is actually they call this success formula actually have three things. Success equal to okay, the first one is actually the hard work, and the second is the belief. And the third one is a passion. Yeah, so you like something you are doing, so you can you keep doing that. You hard work, you keep putting effort, and then you believe in yourself. And this belief can be trained, just like what I mentioned just now. Yeah, so This is a success formula, and there's no shortcut. So yeah, and in this happiness level, it also can be broken into a similar ones. So we know the short-term ones, which you are doing, something you are doing right now. It is something that you have the passions and you like to do that, so it can give you the pleasure. It gives you the short-term happiness. And then how about the long-term ones? The long-term one is the meaning behind thing you are doing. Is there any meaning to you? Is it meaning? Is that meaningful? Yeah. And actually, this meaning also can be found. So it's not something like it's not something like you couldn't find, and you are not able to find any meaning from your life, and you cannot find any meaning from your job like that. And this meaning also can be trained. You also can be trained how to find the meaning, and then how to cultivate. Yeah. And this is subjective. It's subjective. It's different from people to people, but there's a way. There's a way for you to cultivate and then to find the meaning. Now, of course, there are something that you don't like to do, and then it's not your calling. For example, you may think like teaching is your calling, and so you like to teach, you like to help students become a better person. Okay, so this is your calling, and then you like to do this. So yeah, have a passion on that, and then you get a short-term pleasure when you're doing that, and also the thing you are doing is meaningful to you. Yeah, because you indeed you help them become a better person. Yeah. So yeah. So this is something like happiness combine the long term and the short terms. The long term is a meaning, and the short terms is a pleasure. And if you put it into the success formula, yeah, the passion. So passion can allow you to get a pleasure at the same time. You got the meaning. And then because you passion on that, so you are more willing to put more effort on that.
Yeah.
And then you believe this can like this you believe the meaning. For example, you believe that you are able to help them become a better person, and this is also something that you keep doing. Yeah, so this is also a success.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else?
Yeah. No more. Yeah, and I think that one of the things that I learned from you in this conversation is the resilient you mentioned, and then for this resilient to the concept of happiness level. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all for our today's conversation. How do you feel? Did you enjoy the conversation? Please tell us what you think of our conversation. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistakes we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.